Yeah, well, Georgia's definitely first class. Now, Lane Kiffin has admitted as much, and so has Josh Heupel. They both admitted that they need to recruit better. After their beatings were handed down, they didn't talk X's and O's, they talked about recruiting better. They know that they're going to have to get to that talent level that Georgia's at to have a chance. You go, why didn't it help Texas A&M? Well, it takes more than just talent to be first class. First class means doing everything right down to the little things. Georgia's done that. A lot of schools talk about it, but they don't always follow through. They don't execute. Georgia has executed. You can break down their success in any way you want and look at the X's and O's. You come up with the same conclusion. They should beat every opponent. Look around the landscape. There's not a team out there that Georgia shouldn't have at least a puncher's chance of dominating, much less just winning. They should be able to win against Alabama. X's and O's, talent, and all of that considered, they should be able to win that game. Now, the fun part kicks in. Will they? Because there are a lot of things that factor in. And when you consider those dynamics, this Georgia team, this Georgia operation, has one flaw, a major flaw. We'll talk about that later. On top of the one flaw that could derail them, if they aren't careful, it might be the very thing. This Georgia team's got a bullseye on it. Every team wants to be the team to break the winning streak. All kind of winning streaks to count. There's one team that, the last team to beat Georgia, we'll be playing them again, Alabama, and they're the last team to beat us. So it'd only be fair that Georgia stays unbeaten until that happens. The only thing getting in the way of that would be Georgia Tech. Not saying that's not a fairly serious irritant, but this Georgia team should be able to handle Georgia Tech. Again, execution. We have to do it. We're not assuming it. And Tech has had a very good season by considering what was expected. And they're the kind of team you definitely don't want to take lightly. I don't think Georgia will. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on Georgia Tech, because right now we're talking about a little bit longer term. We already know that the SEC championship is coming, and Georgia and Alabama is going to be in it, and any football in between is just kind of a necessary evil. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. I do think there's some interesting aspects to rivalry weekend that's coming up. I like it. I think Florida State could face a really tough battle with Florida. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one turns out. I'm looking forward to the Iron Bowl. I like to see at least a competitive game. I saw that Auburn's troubles last week against New Mexico State as maybe an indication that Mr. Freeze has spent some extra effort on winning this game. It would be interesting if he could. I would like it. As a Georgia fan, there would be nothing better than Alabama losing in the Iron Bowl, because that gets back to the fatal flaw I mentioned earlier. It has something to do with Alabama, not as much as you might think. But Alabama's involved in the fatal flaw that could derail this Georgia three-peat. All these glorious records. And one loss would probably end that dream for Georgia. They have to win out. Alabama has to win out. That's the way it's supposed to be. In a way, somehow, this season produced another interesting outcome. It just took us all season to get any interest in how this season would be flavored. What spices would be thrown into the recipe of 2023, the last season the things that we've known for a while are all going to change, and it might be better. Who knows? It will change. This is the last year of a fairly long history of things like divisions in the SEC, new members in the SEC. You don't play the same rivalries. It's going to be different next year. So we really should take a minute. This video is, the purpose is to get us to reflect on this season that was, and not just a game that happens to be coming up. We've only got one left. Then we get into the championship games, and then we'll just be talking football for 4 weeks. People like me and everybody else will be trying to put something out there, and we'll be talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. There won't be any football. We've already played it. Next year, they'll fill in this gap with some actual football games. If you consider things like Tennessee and Liberty as a football game to watch, you might get something like that. Next year, it'll be different. I don't know if it'll be better or worse, but it'll be different. Let's try to savor the season. It's Thanksgiving, for all the things the season has given us. And remember, as a very special season, and hopefully it will be. But the only way it can be special for anybody that's a Bulldog is for Georgia to hoist that trophy once again.